What's up, everybody? Welcome back to FPL Fantasy. We are here with our Game Week 28 preview and a little look back at Game Week 27 and how me and Doc did. Now, as I alluded to, I can't do this show, or can't do it very well because I can do it. I've done it before without my main man, my co-host, the legend, Doc. Doc, how are you doing, sir?
I'm fine. Thank you, Joe, for introducing me. You're as big as a legend as I am. We're both legends of the FPL fantasy. We'd like to think that way. Game week 27 went very well for me with a couple of differentials doing well. So I'm really happy at this point. It's a great position to be in.
So you alluded to your awesome Game Week 27 team. So let's get into that 27 team, and everybody can take a look at how all your players did.
Yeah, I think the highlight of this team is Matty Cash. He scored a goal, a worldie. I've been having him for a few weeks now because in anticipation of the double game week they're having this double game week finally after we were waiting for this double game week to come for a couple of weeks now. He scored a goal. He's my differential. 14 points. Beautiful double Aston Villa defense with Dean. 72 points. It took me up to overall rank of 3,000, somewhere around 3,000. So I'm really happy to be in this position. 72 points with one hit. A big green arrow. So I'm happy to be in the top 10K, and I hope I can end the season in the top 10K.
Oh, don't talk about the top 10K. Those people are they're not even close to your skill. You're top 5K now, baby. The Matty Cash shout out. I know you had mentioned this. I was very skeptical in Villa's defense. I was very skeptical in Dean, but I know for sure that Matty Cash shout out has worked outstanding for you, and I think that's a big credit to you moving up the ranks. And like I said, Mr. Top 5K, no longer Mr. Top 10K.
I was top 5K previously and I just fell off. I remember that when I was in 5K, I kind of dropped up to 12K at one point, like instantly the week after. So everything is possible, but now I have kind of a distance between myself and the 10K level. So I hope I can keep it up. Now we're reaching the end, let's say the last 10 game weeks of the season. Chips are being played left, right, and center. Strategies are different this season. Usually, people kind of have the similar strategies. Okay, we're gonna free hit in this game week, bench boost in this game week, and wild card this game week. We're seeing wild cards everywhere from since 2 weeks ago. We're seeing free hits. Free hits are coming game week 30. So chip strategy will play a lot of role in moving ranks, and I hope I just don't fall off. I'll be happy finishing at where I am right now. It's a prime week to bench boost. A lot of doubles, a lot of favorite teams who have doubles. The Chelsea news giving doubles to a lot of people are going to Rudiger, Reece James. Of course, we're going to talk about this regarding your team because you're
Yeah.
planning to bring the Chelsea boys in. So I think it's also a prime week for bench boost. My plan is to bench boost in game week 36 because I have a decent enough team for this game week, but not decent enough to bench boost, if you know what I mean.
For
So
sure.
yeah, let's get into this game week.
All right. So, looking at your game week here, want to talk about your strategy and your transfers?
So what I'm looking at currently, we still have about 12 hours or 16 hours until the deadline, something like that. And I'll make a decision right before the deadline, but I'm probably gonna go for this. I'm transferring out Brownhill and bringing in Coutinho to make him a captain. The reason I'm mentioning that I'm kind of between two minds because I'm not sure if I want Coutinho or if I want Rafinha. I feel it's a 50-50 decision, and whoever I'm bringing in is gonna be the captain. So it's between Rafinha or Coutinho. I'm leaning Coutinho at the moment, but you never know when you sleep and wake up and you're in a different mind. So that's the transfer number one. I'm taking a hit. I'm taking out Livramento. Yes, he has a double, but I think the fact that he might be rotation risk, they're having difficult fixtures when it comes to defensive returns, possibly because they're facing decent attacking teams. So I'm taking out Livramento and bringing in Saiz also with an eye on game week 30 because Wolves play in game week 30, Aston Villa play in game week 30. So the two transfers I'm bringing in actually give me 9 players in game week 30. So all those transfers are long-term plans because I don't want to free hit in game week 30. I'm planning to free hit in 33. So because we're expecting a lot of doubles and a lot of blank, especially after the FA Cup draw last night. The FA Cup draw worked very nicely for people who held on to their chips because the big teams are facing, let's say, smaller teams with all respect. So there is a good chance that the big teams will progress, which will cause more blanks and more doubles. So the draw was perfect. So those are my two transfers. I'm captaining probably Coutinho, and let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Coutinho is probably the best captain option, but obviously I'm a complete wild card and I pay attention to no one and I do crazy ridiculous things at times. And I think it's very interesting that you're doing the game week 33 free hit rather than game week 30. I think it's definitely an interesting alternative if you have enough cover for 30. We might even see people that are going into game week 30 with 8 or 9 players because they think that they can benefit more using it in 33. That's something else to keep out on the radar, and I'm sure we'll touch on that come game week 30's preview.
Yeah, and especially if you go back to my transfers, 2 weeks ago, maybe even 4 weeks ago, I had game week 30 in mind. All my transfers kind of were trying to find the balance between getting the points now and getting the players who will play in game week 30, playing with the probabilities and what can go as a blank or no. At the current time, with the free transfers that I have in hand, I will end up with 11 in game week 30, so it was well planned. You never know who's going to get injured or who's going to get suspended or anything, but I like the position that I'm in, so I don't need to really free hit. I'll be even happy to go with 7, 8. One thing about game week 30, and we're going to talk about it in game week 30, but one thing I've noticed when it comes to big blank weeks, you really don't need many players because think about it. If you have a striker from a team who's playing a defender from the other team, if the striker scores, then you lose 4 points from the defender, and vice versa. If the striker blanks, you get the points from the defender. So you really don't need many players. We're going to talk about it more in Game Week 30 preview, but you don't really need too many players in a big blank game week.
Yeah, it's definitely a chess match for sure in order to figure out where you can pick up points but still not lose points if something goes your way. Game week 30 conversation. We're worried about 28 right now. So getting into my team. Here's my team for the week. Obviously didn't go as expected. I limped out of the game week with 42 points. I have 2 defenders that ended up blanking. I didn't feel like it was a good week to use my bench boost. Clearly that was a completely tactical and such a skillful decision with 0 points coming from my team there because they all blanked on the bench. Veghorst, it just didn't pan out, and those are the type of decisions that sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Son, I know that you captained Son and that worked out great. Son was actually, I believe, yeah, my vice captain, and I was going back and forth between Veghorst and Son and just picked the wrong guy this week. So I salute you in your decision to get Son. Alright, moving into my team for this game week, which this was transfers that I had decided 2 days ago. That was 2 days of time for me to think and completely decide I don't know if I want to do this. To give a little bit of context, my transfers that I had going here, not 100% dissimilar from what I was interested in. My total idea was in the next game week or 2 after this, hopefully getting Kane. When I sat down and I actually looked at all of the costs and who I'd have to bring in, I think it is trying to rip apart my team to bring in one good player that's on form. It's something that I don't necessarily want to do unless I'm ripping apart my team to bring in Salah and I'm going to triple captain him and he's going to score 84 points in a week. That's the only stipulation that I have there. Who did I bring in? I brought in Dean, I brought in Thiago Silva, and I brought in my man from the beginning of the season, Smith Rowe, baby. I think he is going to definitely probably make his way back into the starting lineup. Adversely, against kind of this format here, what I was thinking is I could go Target instead of Dean, still bring in Silva, and then bring in Rudiger for Cancelo. Now, Cancelo going out might sound crazy. What I was thinking there is I at least have some games in hand. Rudiger has a double this week, and Rudiger is probably going to accumulate from now to the end of the season as many blanks as Cancelo will. And it's kind of a toss-up on which one that you'd want. I think Rudiger might be the guy for me. That is my new strategy, and that puts me at 0 in the bank. Now, I would still consider possibly taking out Sterling who I took out for Smith Rowe here, and maybe bring in Willock because he's got a double-double coming up this week and next week, and I think I can accumulate more points there, be in a slightly better position. Newcastle is looking pretty deadly over the last couple weeks. It seems like things have finally clicked. They might actually save themselves from being relegated, which looking back 6-7 game weeks ago, you would have never guessed. That's a path that I could go. I could also bring in somebody else because we are looking at probably about 3.4 in the bank. Something that Doc had mentioned was offline was bringing in Coutinho. He's definitely someone that I'm looking into. He probably has more legs on him, so he can last a couple weeks longer. I don't know. It's all up in the air right now for me. And something that I do want to mention is the reason why on this draft here I thought about going Smith Rowe over Saka is when I was looking at the last couple weeks. So the last 2 weeks, Smith Rowe has 1 point over Saka. The last 4 weeks, Saka has 1 point over Smith Rowe. It's still interesting to see, even over I think the course of the whole season, Saka has 8 more points than Smith Rowe. So it's kind of one of those things where you can save yourself a little bit of money and not really be punished for making that decision. So Doc, I threw a lot at you. What do you think?
Well, one of the reasons I enjoy talking to you because you're one of the people who are kind of the maverick type of managers who's always chasing this differential high side. Willock, wow. Smith Rowe, again, I wouldn't do this transfer. That's just not me. I like my minutes, let's say. I like players who will play at least 60, 70 guaranteed every single game week. Smith Rowe is not that type of player at the moment because Arteta's preferring the Martinelli, Odegaard, Lacazette, Saka front line. So Smith Rowe is coming off the bench. He's scoring every single time he comes off the bench. So I see your point. I like the Willock punt, but like I mentioned off camera, I like if you bring Coutinho or Rafinha and give yourself a captaincy option there because I think they are going to be like probably the second and third most captain players this game week. Maybe Salah will be probably first, although he has a single game week, but you would see him probably being captain overall, maybe the most captain player. Probably, like I mentioned, I'm going to captain Coutinho and Rafinha. That's why I kind of gave my thought there that I prefer Rafinha or Coutinho over Smith Rowe. Maybe Willock, there is if you want to really be punty and jump the ranks, yes, I can see the point. Your 3 defensive transfers, there is upside definitely, but again, you're putting yourself in a corner when it comes to game week 30. But you mentioned that you're planning to use a chip in game week 30 to kind of protect that. So I see why you're doing it. And if you're using a chip in game week 30, you might as well just not think about it and just attack 28, 29. So I see why you're doing it. I like those transfers. Target Newcastle are being solid at the back now, and you can see him going forward a lot. So I see the upside in it. He has a double also, so I'm kind of a bit jealous that he's not in my plans and I cannot bring him in because I would love a Newcastle asset. It would make even watching their matches more interesting. I like those transfers. Maybe the Cancelo one is a bit over the top. It's a hit to take out Cancelo at home. Yes, it's against Manchester United, but it's not like we're setting the world alight. So we're not playing very well. We're not scoring a lot of goals. So I can see Cancelo doing well. Cancelo will be probably on my bench this game week because just you like the doubles. You never know how it's going to end up in this game week. But I like those transfers. The first 3 transfers, I like them. They are kind of a mini surgery. They are -8, but -8 in a double game week is technically -4. And we talked about it a lot when it comes to double game week transfers. So I like those transfers. It's just the main thing that I don't like, you're not giving yourself a decent captaincy option. Maybe if you want to captain one of the defenders, take a punt there, yes. However, I like those transfers, yes.
Yeah, and the other thing that I'll say, because I know we'll hear about it, is Reece James. He's one of those players that I love him when it works out, but this season, it has not worked out at all. You bring him in, he scores, he scores 25 points in a game, and you're like, oh my gosh, he's insane, we have to bring him in. And then he goes on a 7 game week run of getting 1s and 0s and ends up bringing you like 15 points to your team over 7 game weeks. That's the only thing that scares me a little bit about Reece James. Yes, he has a double. I'm worried that he might be baiting everybody into doing it again this game week. If he doesn't, I'm wrong. There's You don't know until it happens, until the game's played. But I'm just saying that's where I stand, and that's why I'm like not really thinking Reece James this week. And
I wanted to mention that off camera, we did talk about this, and I kind of suggested, have you looked at Reece James? And we had kind of similar conversation to this, as Pelequeta has been confirmed out for this game week. So there's kind of almost there's no competition. You never know with Tuchel, he might play Hudson Odoi at right wing back all of a sudden. Yes, I understand your kind of fears, but I think if I had the opportunity that you have and you're trying to kind of clear your back line, I would almost definitely get Reece James. His upside is ridiculous whenever he plays. He might not play one game here and there, come off the bench and hurt you, but the upside is ridiculous.
so there was one shout out that I want to make, and it's because I'm a Spurs man. But Kulusevski, he's been doing awesome in the games that he's played. He's actually, when I was comparing him with Son, he's actually outperforming Son pretty well in some of the key stats. So he's somebody to definitely maybe consider if you wanted a little bit of a punt and you didn't want to necessarily go the Son or the Kane route. He's actually somebody that I might consider getting in later in the season because, like I said, creating this whole team surgery to try and get Kane in, it's going to hurt my team more than it's actually going to help my team. But if I can get him in, he's in the attack. He's still doing well. He's still playing off of Son and Kane. Amazing in the next couple game weeks. He might find his way into my team here.
I like him as an option, but he's the type of player that you'll always be worried looking at the lineup. He might have one off game, and all of a sudden you have Lucas Moura starting instead of him or something. So he's the type of player that you just want to catch him in his form and be ready to take him out as soon as he loses form. So I kind of avoid those players. They're really fun to have because probably only 5% will own him, and you'll be one of them, and they'll score 2 goals and an assist and get 3 bonus in this game. Next game they blank. The game after they're benched. So he gives me this type of vibe, and he's a great enabler, but I have this weird feeling about him that he gives me this vibe that all of a sudden he'll be benched one day just because he blanked and played bad in this game, and Lucas Moura should get his chance or something.
And I'm not advocating to bring him in this game week, but somebody I got my eye on for sure. Okay, so everybody, thank you so much for listening to the end of the video here. As normal, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, comment. Let us know your thoughts on our teams. Let us know your thoughts on Doc's transfers, on my absolutely insane transfers, and we'll see you next time. Doc, would you like to say anything?
I just wanted to say, if you made it to this part of the video, we really appreciate you that you're watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Just do us a favor. If you're not subscribed, press that subscribe button. It really helps out. Our subscribers have been stagnant for a while. We're not getting so many subscribers. It's not like we're doing it for the subscribers, but it's nice to see this appreciation and kind of the feedback back that people are liking our content, and we're giving it to you every week now. So we hope you enjoy the content. Just press that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next episode.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Peace.